Welcome to Star Medicine Podcast, your weekly source for easy-to-apply astrology, energy, and divinatory practice to deepen and expand your being experience. Hosted by intuitive astrologer and Reiki 3 practitioner Jenifer Edwards.
Oh, don't you just love that theme music? That's by our friends Delco Ray here in the great state of Maine. You can find more about them at www.justinmaxwell.net. Welcome, Mystics. Happy Mars Day. Today's Tuesday, September 15th. I'm happy to be here with you. I'm very excited to go over the forecast, especially in the midst of this new moon energy. We are definitely in the balsamic moon phase. We will be feeling the new moon that's coming very early on Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. On tonight's broadcast, we will have the listener line open, so if you would like to call and you have an astrological question about your chart, if you know your rising sign, that's helpful. The guest call-in number is area code 323-642-1188. I will be taking phone calls towards the end of tonight's broadcast. We have a lot to go over this evening. Today's wonderful square today with Venus and Leo at 10 degrees, squaring Uranus and Taurus at 10 degrees. Now, I have to tell you, we've been feeling this energy all day, if not starting last night, and we'll probably be feeling it into tomorrow. This is kind of a tense square. Venus is currently in the sign of Leo, like I said, and Venus is the planet of love and beauty and prosperity. And when we have a square, that means a planet is 90 degrees from another planet. And a square is tense. So usually the outer lying planet, which would be Uranus here, which is located at 10 degrees Taurus, overtakes the planet. So it kind of gives it an angry glimpse. So when we have that energy, Uranus is a higher vibration of Mercury. And what that means is if Mercury is the planet of communication, then Uranus is the planet of higher communication. Uranus has a glyph that looks much like a satellite. And for me, it is reminiscent of electricity. And we can never predict where electricity strikes. And that's how Uranus works. So Uranus is kind of like an electrical impulse. It comes out of nowhere. You have no idea when and how, but it just is. A good analogy that I use with my clients is you're driving down a desert road, and there's 100 miles in front of you of desert and 100 miles behind you of desert. So basically there's desert all around you. And as you're driving down this desert road, all of a sudden a pineapple falls out of the sky onto your car, breaks your windshield. That is Uranus, my friends. So Uranus, being the planet of surprise, is also innovative as well. So when we have a square with Uranus, we have things come out of the blue. So we have information that comes, perhaps. We have incidences that come, but definitely things that happen are heated and hot, and they come in fast. When we have Venus involved, it's usually lover scorned. It is looking at your love language. It is looking at your prosperity. Maybe something happened with your bank account that was completely abnormal, especially online. Maybe you clicked on a link online and now you're going and fixing your credit card accounts to lock them all up. That's how that energy works. I know for people around me, it really has been tense with texting or emails or communication online. So we really want to be very careful of the words that we choose to use. As we know, any of our written word doesn't have a voice inflection. So someone is reading it somewhere that in a way that maybe you didn't intend. So you want to make sure that all your communication over the next day or so, especially coming in with this new moon energy, is clear and concise and doesn't have what could be interpreted as a tone. And that will do you a world of good, and let's clean up later on your behalf. We have this energy until Wednesday. And when we move into Thursday, we start to move into the new moon energy in Virgo. So when we talk about the moons, we have the new moon and the full moon and all the goodness in between. Right now, before we move into the new moon energy, we have the waning moon in Virgo. The moon in Virgo is currently at 2 degrees. It's moving into the balsamic phase. Balsamic moon is the dark of the moon. It's about 24 hours before the new moon actually happens. This is a time of great shedding. This is a time of releasing what no longer serves us. When we talk about manifesting and manifesting our desires that are in line with our purpose, we have to make room for these things. And so whenever we have a lot of clutter, any sort of feng shui or Marie Kondo, those kinds of instructional books will tell you that clutter blocks energy. And so it's the same sort of thing when we talk about the balsamic moon. So we're in the shedding phase. So whatever is in your life that no longer serves you, this is the time to breathe and let go. Whether it is internal thinking that no longer serves its purpose, whether it is things around your home that are no longer being used, you can give and gift to someone who can use them. People in your life, for instance, that do not bring you joy. We can't always pick the people that are in our life, but we certainly can choose who we want to spend our time with. And that comes into play when we look into the dark. When we start talking about the new moon, the moon is dark, 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 balsamic until the absolute second that the moon turns new. And for us, Eastern time zone, adjust your time accordingly. For us, it will be at 7 a.m. and the moon will be at 25 degrees Virgo. So at that second, that's when the moon becomes new and it starts waxing. So prior to the new moon, it's in its waning cycle, and at the exact time of the new moon, it starts its waxing cycle. This is the time of manifestation. This is the time of new energy. This is what is coming in for us, what we're calling in. And if you work with manifesting during moon cycles, it's a very special time. So the time to really focus on intentions for the new moon would be after 7 a.m. if you're calling in. If you're releasing, if you are looking to quit smoking, you're looking to quit anything, as a matter of fact, you want to get your vessel prepared to begin something new, you would want to do that in the balsamic moon phase before 7 a.m. But at 7 and after, we are waxing. And the waxing moon at 25 degrees Virgo is bringing in the energy of routine, of healing, of service to others, as well as service to ourselves, as well as our own personal health. Virgo rules the body's health, hair, skin, teeth, and bones. So we want to really honor the vessel that we're in. And for Virgo, this will land in your first house. This will land in your first house of self. Happy new moon to you. You have this beautiful new moon shining brightly for your birthday. Allow this to be a time to have ritual around how you want to be seen by others, changing your appearance, how you are really fitting into your skin, reflecting the real you out into the world without fear of judgment. Libra, we're looking at this new moon in your 12th house. So the 12th house represents your subconscious and secrets and your inner workings. The 12th house is the house of rest and rejuvenation, of deep rejuvenation from the inside out. You may find this moon to be a time to be guided to finding quiet within yourself, carving out a space for deep rest, especially in your schedule. If we look at the Virgo energy, it would be to make sure you have time for yourself. Make sure that you have downtime for yourself. It's very important that you have some solidarity during this time. Scorpio, you're going to have this new moon in your 11th house of friends, social contacts, social media, and what I like to call the manifestation house. It is referred to as hopes and wishes, but I like to call it the manifestation house. So any ritual around what you want to bring into reality, what you want to realize during this moon, to write your intentions around that, to do a little ritual about calling in whatever it is you seek that'll help bring you to your next phase into the process. The energy is ripe for that for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, 10th house magic for you for the Virgo new moon. The 10th house is your career house. It's also the house of fame and status. And so if you were looking to one-up your career, you were looking to find, completely change your career, now is the time to put the energy into that, because this is where we start to manifest things and get the ball rolling. Start getting those resumes together, hand out the resumes. We don't hand things out anymore. Everything's online. I always forget about that. So with that said, I would email your x-rays, email your resumes, and, check out your LinkedIn accounts, make sure that's all up to date, everything that you need to do to feel confident in moving forward in your career moves this month. Capricorn, we have the new moon illuminating your 9th house. Very exciting. The 9th house represents the teacher and foreign travel and foreign language, philosophy. It's the house of expansion. It's the house of religion. Theology falls in here, all the different religions. And, it's kind of the house of the seeker, the mental seeker, the philosophical seeker. And so Capricorn, having the new moon there, you may find that you want to go back to school, or you are definitely looking at becoming a teacher. You don't need all of those degrees. You can certainly teach your own medicine that you have within you, and maybe you have the confidence to do that. Travel's really weird right now, so it could be that you have had your heart set on traveling, and maybe that isn't going to be able to happen because it is a foreign travel house. But that doesn't mean you can't learn a new language, which is what I really impress upon people, that, just because we can't go anywhere, it doesn't mean we can't have some fun in our own home where we cook a meal from Mexico and have a Spanish night. That way, when you're ready for your trip, you know a little lingo, Moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius, we have this new moon in your spicy 8th house. So the 8th house rules a bunch of things, and actually it's one of the mysterious houses that we'll talk about tonight, later on when we talk about the 12 houses in the astrological wheel. But the 8th house rules sex, death, taboo, windfalls, and emotional intimacy. It can be sexual intimacy as well, but I really like to focus on the emotional intimacy part because that's the hardest part to reach with people. And I think once you have the emotional intimacy, the sexual intimacy is amplified. But, that's just this Sagittarius over here being hopeful. When we talk about a new moon in the 8th house, you could receive a windfall. You could, I would definitely play the lottery if I had a new moon in my 8th house. You could do manifestation or rituals around developing your psychic awareness, or divinatory tools. If you have always wanted to pick up tarot, or you've always wanted to use a pendulum or any kind of divinatory tool, this is a great time to kind of put your energy into that. And if you're looking to spice things up in your relationship, this is a wonderful moon to kind of go towards that. When we look at Virgo being the healer in the body, whenever we invest in ourselves, then we are healing the self, if that makes any sense. So when we apply the Virgo energy to the 8th house, there's deep healing in being incredibly emotionally intimate or sexually intimate with your partner, just letting them see everything without judgment of the self or fear. That just breaks down so many walls and sounds very beautiful. Pisces. This new moon is in your 7th house of partnerships, business partnerships, and open enemies. But, the open enemies that we talk about here are ones that you know that you don't like, and they know that they don't like you. But let's not talk about them. It's more about partnerships. If you're in the market to snag a sweetie, this would be a great moon to really write some intention work around how you feel about yourself. The kind of, to write some intention work around the kind of partner you want to attract into your life. And also, if you are with someone, this is a great time to really focus your energy on the partnership that you've already created. The partnership that we create needs extra love and water in order for it to grow. And sometimes with the Virgo energy, our schedules have been so bogged down that now is time to clear away some extra time, clear away things that are absorbing your energy so you can make time for things that deserve your energy, like your relationship. Aries, we have this moon in your 6th house. This is the Virgo house. Virgo owns the 6th house. So this is the house of health. This is the house of the healing. This is the house of routines. This is the house of fitness. I say fitness because of health. It's also small animals, service to others, as well as your job. 10th house is career. That's if you're like a nurse practitioner and you do nurse practitioner things. And your job would be the 6th house. It would be general hospital where you punch in at. So that's how it sort of is different there. But with the new moon in the 6th house, this is the time to completely reboot your lifestyle. If you have been feeling like CRAP for the entire summer, or even during quarantine, if you gain the quarantine 15, this is the time to really get in motion. This is a wonderful time to set intentions around your diet, your wellness, your well-being. Even small changes. This doesn't have to be all of a sudden we're doing insanity every day and you filled every second with movement and you're eating little tiny scraps of food. This is really about deeply listening to your body and finding out what it needs. Your body will tell you, and your body needs rest. So if you're going to start something, make sure it's something that you truly enjoy so you'll stick with it. If you love to dance, just start dancing every day. It doesn't have to be a regimented dance deal. You don't have to get a video unless you want to, unless you really want to. I just got a Peloton. My project this weekend is to get my space in order and get on that puppy, and I probably will. But I also know that I need to nap, and so I am going to definitely be paying attention to that energy, as should you, Aries. And now we'll move on to Taurus, seeing this beautiful Virgo new moon in your 5th house. Now, the 5th house is our other sex house. It's also our other love house. The 5th house rules love, new love, like flirty, first date, kissy, face love, and new sex love, that fun stuff. And it's also the house of creativity. It's the house of children. So if you're looking to procreate, to multiply, this would be the moon to get down, to put it lightly. And also, it's the house of the entertainer. So if you're into something that has to do with art or music, singing, acting, all of that stuff is in the 5th house. This is a wonderful time to launch that new, fresh moon. So all spotlight is on you, Taurus. And you love the spotlight. You always have the best makeup. I've always noticed that. I can always pick a Taurus out of the crowd. Just saying. Moving on to Gemini. So we have Gemini having this beautiful Virgo new moon in the 4th house. So Gemini and Virgo have something in common. They both are ruled by the planet Mercury. So they both are information signs in very different ways. Gemini is an air sign. Virgo is an earth sign. And when we talk about the mercurial influence, it's a really compatible moon to Gemini. So this will land in the 4th house of home for Gemini. So you may be looking to relocate, perhaps. This is usually a time of year where I end up moving, but I already did that this summer. I really enjoy Brunswick. More about that later. So anyhow, when we talk about a new moon in the 4th house, Gemini, we're talking about your digs. We're talking about where you live. We're talking about your family. We're talking about your lineage, your mother, your ancestry. So all that stuff falls in the 4th house. So if you wanted to get a new couch or you're looking to revamp your living situation now, give it kind of a redo, this is a good time to do it, especially with Mercury retrograde getting ready to happen in October. Maybe you want to put a coat of, this would be the time to be inspired. I wouldn't be surprised if you were. If you haven't talked to Mom in a little while, maybe give her a call. Or you could be adding someone to the family. This is additions to the family. Even though the 5th house is the house of children, the 4th house is the house of home. So we add one more person, that's an addition, isn't it? And we will move on to Cancer. And lovely Cancer will be experiencing this Virgo moon in her 3rd house. So the 3rd house rules communication in all forms. It is the house that Gemini rules, and also Mercury. So there's a lot of communication here. So it is the house of communication, short distance travel, as well as your siblings. And traditionally, or I should say historically, the brothers. But we'll just say siblings. So when we have a new moon here, definitely if you're a writer, this is a great time to start a writing project. This is a great time to start a podcast. This is a great time to go out and discover the outside, especially with winter looming, at least here in the Northeast. Whatever hemisphere you're in will definitely dictate the weather, but here it is almost equinox time, so the chill is in the air. It's apple season, so you could go out and pick some apples and look at leaves. This is leaf peeping season here as well. But definitely look for communication. Pay attention to how you are communicating and do it. This is a launching pad. So if you're getting ready to do a podcast, just do it. Have some fun. Don't be too serious, and definitely no judgment. And finally, Leo. Leo, we're going to have this new moon in your 2nd house. The 2nd house is earned income and self-esteem. It's self-worth. And so when we have a new moon there, we may find a little extra money in our paycheck. This is money that we earn, as opposed to the 8th house, which is money that's given or gifted through inheritance or lottery or windfall. The 2nd house is money that we earn. So maybe you started a new startup or wanted to do a side hustle, and you're starting to see some income come from that. Or maybe you got a little boost or a little bonus in your paycheck because you worked so hard over the quarantine, like most healthcare workers have been doing. Thank you, all you healthcare workers out there. You're much appreciated. So you should see a little extra oomph there. Now, if your goal is to be able to attract more prosperity into your life, Leo, this is definitely the time to start setting up shop. So go ahead and move forward with some plans. We do have some other planetary things happening, but that doesn't mean you can't lay the groundwork. You definitely have good energy for it. So move forward with those plans and ask your boss for a raise. It's just as simple as that. If they say no, fine. Maybe look for another job. I'm just saying it could happen. So anyhow, that is what the moon looks like for Thursday, and that'll be the energy over Friday. And then Saturday we move into the sun in Virgo is going to be squaring the galactic center. So the galactic center of the universe is at 27 degrees Sagittarius, and it was at 26 for a long time, but I got corrected a couple of months ago. It's at 27. It moves, it shifts. It takes a long time to move, as one would imagine. But anyhow, the galactic center is kind of a place where we receive our impulses from the other worlds, from the center of the universe. A lot of times people who have birth placements near 26, 27, 28 degrees Sagittarius are really in tune, and they get flashes of insight that seem to come out of nowhere, and that is attributed to the galactic center, so I like to believe. So with the sun squaring galactic center, you may find that some crazy idea that you want to go forward with is met with resistance, or someone wants you to go along with an idea that you're not quite sold on 100%. Sit with this idea that comes in, this energy that comes in for 24 hours, and see how you feel. Whenever we have the sun involved, the sun is our radiant self, so it's our will, it's our it's kind of our ego. So when the ego squares the galactic center, something doesn't resonate with our belief system. So this could be a catalyst to really broaden our horizons and look at things in a different way. And the way the world is going right now, I mean, that brings in a lot of perspective, joy, things in a different way. Finally, on our StarCast this week on Monday, Mercury and Libra will be squaring Pluto in Capricorn. Lots of squares this week, but that's okay. Squares are uncomfortable placements that move us into a different direction and allow us to think in a different way. So when we see a square, it's good to know that that energy is there so we can work with it, so we can be open with it, and we're not resistant, because when we resist things, we don't grow. So when we have Mercury and Libra, Libra's an air sign, so it's all about communication, the fairness of communication. Libra holds the scales. When it squares Pluto, Pluto is intense. Pluto is definitely weighted. So your words will have weight this day. Pluto and Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about building solid foundations. So someone may say something to you in regard to what you're doing that undermines perhaps everything you're working for. And, before you react, really pay attention to where this is coming from them. This is a lesson of what people say and where it comes from before you react. This is a day to definitely think about what you're going to say before you react, to definitely think about the energy coming at you and the energy that you're going to be emitting. Mercury is all about words. Pluto is all about impact. Your words will have weight today. And whether the weight is devastating or the weight is enlightening are completely up to you. So with that being said, whenever Pluto's involved, it's about great transformation and transmutation. So no matter what happens in the stars, everything is there to guide you to your purpose, as long as you're in your own authenticity. And that really is the only way to be.
You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio, a network of shows offering healing and guidance for your beautiful journey. Tune in on Mondays for the Alchemy Sisters, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, tune in and tune up. Body awareness and self-care, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, One for All is Love, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, Unbound with Cynthia Martin, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Fridays, The Witching Hour with Green Witch Village and the Alchemy Sisters, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, Rain Radio, 10 Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, Creating Heaven on Earth, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the Heart Over Ego Radio Network.
Welcome back. I just want to let you guys know how you can find me. My website is www.thankgoddess.org. On Facebook, I'm at ThankGoddess1. On Instagram, I'm at thank_goddess. I also can be found at optimisticwellness.com, also the same IG handle. And, of course, Star Medicine Podcast on IG and Facebook. I hope that in the future, if you feel like getting some astrological questions asked, I am putting it out there to please email me at starmedicinepodcast@outlook.com. Feel free to leave your birth information. I'll need your date of birth, the time that you were born, and the place that you were born, as well as one question. As soon as my inbox is full, I will stop the invite, but I would like to go over viewer mail weekly. So that way, if any of you have any questions you want to ask, I can take a look at your chart and take a peek. Also, I just want to let you know that myself and the Grateful Messenger, Denise Carell, who's also co-host of Enlightened Empath podcast, we'll be hosting an awakening. It's an online intuitive development retreat. That'll happen on October 3rd and 4th. We will be doing the retreat via Zoom. And Denise and I were planning on doing this retreat in person, but because of the pandemic, reorganized some things. So now we can open it up to people all over the world. And we will be going over identifying your clair, techniques and practice for intuitive development, understanding and overcoming psychic blocks, introduction to divination methods, and moon manifestation and divine focus techniques. All of this is $133. The tuition includes handouts, live class, and the full recording at the end. So if this resonates with you, you can find and sign up at thankgoddess.org or thegratefulmessenger.com. It looks like we have a caller. Hi, caller. Are you there? Hi, caller. Are you there?
I am. I just tuned in, so I don't know if it was I'm here. I didn't know if it was a dialogue. You doing a dialogue? I know it's about astrology. Hello?
So, yes, this is, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, yes.
Okay, great. Yes, this is an astrology podcast. My name is Jenifer. And do you have an astrological question you'd like to ask?
Yes. Do I need to give you my birth information? Yes, I guess I do.
What's the question that you want to ask tonight? What's your name, first of all?
Daphne.
Hi, Daphne. Thank you for calling.
How are you?
Good. What's your question?
My question is, do you see anyone coming in for me? My fiance made his transition in December of last year, and I've been feeling a little, I guess,
lonely.
You would consider it lonely or a little stress or, grieving somewhat.
Do you know what your rising sign is?
Ease that, take care of me.
Well, let's go ahead and do you know anything about your astrology at all?
Pardon me?
Do you know anything about your astrological chart?
I was born December
like the time you were born or your rising sign. When's your birthday?
December the 17th, 1969. I was born at 11:56 a.m. in Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, I have to tell you a little secret. 11:56 a.m.
Mhm.
Okay.
11:56 a.m.
I'll pull up your chart. I'm going to pull up your chart right now so I can look at it. I have to tell you a little secret.
Okay.
So you and I have the same birthday.
1969?
Yeah, you and I have the same birthday. I never ever hear my birthday. You ever notice that? We have like we have a birthday that nobody has. So your rising sign is Pisces at 28 degrees. So let me just pull up your chart here. I'll take a peek at it since you're a fellow birthday twin.
Too sad.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And you're my first caller, so it's a sign for the universe.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a peek at Daphne's chart here. So Daphne, you have your rising sign, which is what was rising on the horizon when you were born, is 28 degrees Pisces. So it's at the very end of Pisces. So your whole first house is Aries. Your moon is in Aries, which is your emotional body. So it's the way that you sort of emotionally react to things. In this lifetime, you are your moon, and you strive to be your sun, which is at 25 degrees Sagittarius. So with a moon in Aries means you're very impulsive, which is good. You're like a little kid. You get giddy. You like to be excited. You love to be in love. You love to have feelings, enjoy, and that kind of stuff. But also you're very easily hurt. You have the moon in your first house, which means that you wear your heart on your sleeves, or your emotion on your sleeves. It's very hard for you to hide how you're feeling to other people. So when you're trying to hide whether you're upset, people can read your face pretty easily.
Yes.
When we look at your sun, you have the sun in the 9th house, which is a wonderful place for your Sagittarius sun. The 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius, so the ruler is there, and your sun is really close to the galactic center. So that means you're kind of psychic. I think sometimes you kind of pick up on things. And
true.
Yeah, and you often wish that you wrote them down, huh? So you could say, "Hey, I knew this was going to happen." But to answer your question, so the eclipses that are happening are going to be in Sagittarius and Gemini, and that involves your 9th house and 3rd house. So this is foreign travel and expansion, as well as higher education. Are you thinking about going back to school? Like, not go back to school traditionally, but like, is there something that you've been wanting to learn about?
Acting.
Acting. Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. You should totally do that. Your Mercury is in Capricorn in the 10th house, so you would be very, very articulate in your acting. I think you would. I think that would broaden your sense of self. Because the way that you're very serious when you talk sometimes, and so whenever we bring acting into that, we're able to go deep into different characters and how they would deliver their lines, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
So you have Pluto right on the descendant, which means that Pluto is a planet of deep transformations. Your relationships have been very, very deep and intense. Have you been married more than once?
I've been married once, and my fiance, we were going to get married this past April, but he didn't make it. So,
how did he? Do you mind if I ask how he passed away?
He had, first of all, he loved beer. He was a beer drinker, and he had some kind of respiratory problem, whatever was going on with his body. But, he's pretty much an alcoholic.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Beer. He has to have his beers, 4 or 5 beers every day.
I see. And so for you, the thing is that people that come into your life, they come in suddenly, and they're there for long periods of time. So they're always very deep and I'm not going to say destructive relationships, but it's more like when Pluto comes in, it's always a constant burning and rising from the ash in the same relationship, but that's like an intenseness that you kind of crave. You like that in your relationships. You like things to always be changing, and you come out a different person after everyone, even though you were married and then with your fiance. It's definitely a platform of transformation for you. When we talk about having someone else come into your life, I would say if you were to do anything with school, doing anything that makes you happy, like going to acting class. I know now with the pandemic, there aren't a lot of in-person acting classes, but with the eclipses that are happening, I have a feeling you're going to meet someone either through your faith or through discovering something that you've always wanted to learn. And I think that you might have a really good opportunity of being able to develop relationships, either through a new person that you meet that becomes a friend and wants to set you up with someone, or someone you actually meet at one of these things. When we talk about the eclipses, it looks like the eclipses that happen in June. We're in your 8th house. Did he leave anything for you behind?
Anything like
in a will?
Inheritance?
Yeah.
No.
In the 8th house is our house of physical death, but it's also our house of spiritual death as well as inheritances and also things that people leave behind. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. It could be, something special from the family or something like that. It looks like that around the time of his passing, that it was sort of in the eclipse zone. You just went through your Chiron return, which is the wounded healer. And so that's kind of, the wounded healer is it's the asteroid that is our Achilles heel. So it's the part where we're most sensitive. We feel it most when we're a child. But yours is located in the 1st house. And so with your natal Chiron in the 1st house, the way that you appear to others is really a place where you're kind of fearful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like you're very sensitive or insecure about how other people perceive you?
Or maybe they may think, do the elevator go all the way up to the top floor?
It does. It goes to the top floor.
So what?
So with your return, you're feeling more and more of that, which now that you're newly single and you're getting ready to, wanting to have closeness and intimacy with somebody else because you're feeling lonely, all of those old insecurities are coming back, which you would think, oh, that just happens with people dating. But with you, with your Chiron return, the timing is impeccable, which means that, this is the time in your life to really work on what you want to bring into your life, what you deserve, what you want to attract, and how you want people to see you, the real authentic you, because that light that shines is what really attracts people that are good, kind people. Does that answer your question?
Get rid of that.
Yeah, you're having a lot of movement in the 1st house. You're changing a lot of things, dear. There's definitely a lot of energy that's happening with you. This is going to be a really great new moon. The new moon for you on Thursday is going to be in your 6th house. So it's actually going to be conjunct your Pluto. Like you're probably really thinking about changing your diet and your routine and doing a little bit more self-care. Is that right? Has that been on your mind?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit more meditation, listen to music, dance, and trying to do things to uplift. And I wanted to travel.
I'll tell you that Virgo, this Virgo new moon is going to be something powerful for you, and it's going to be right on your descendant. So, this could be the really put yourself out there this week because you could meet somebody. We have this new moon right on your descendant line, right on Pluto. So get out there, and put out your best self, no judgment. You're the most, you're beautiful.
Right. Yes.
And also,
I wanted to travel. I wanted to do some traveling, but with all the, what's going on, as we all know, they won't open up until next year. And so, do you see that happening?
For travel, I would probably what I've been telling clients. Well, that's a completely different story. We're there's some astrological configurations that are happening in November, October, and so I think that probably foreign travel by spring next year should be okay. But for now, wherever you want to go, if you want to go to, if you want to go to Spain, get a Spanish cookbook and start cooking the cuisine. And start learning some Spanish. You know what I mean? Like bring Spain to your home, so that way when you finally get to travel, you can you know some of the local dialect and you can just have some fun with it instead of being sort of like trapped. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
If you work around, and this is the last thing that I'll leave you with, but if you work around moon manifestation, for you, write your intentions on Thursday morning. You're in Boston now, yes?
No, I'm in Georgia now.
You're in Georgia. So you're Eastern time. So after 7 a.m., I want you to write a list of all the things that you want in a partner.
Okay.
And you know what? Soup to nuts. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be 10. You can keep writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And as you're writing down all the things that you want in a partner, and don't leave anything out. Like if you wanna put down the size of the love magic, you can put that down too. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to write down like you're ordering from a menu, okay? And then you're going to read it aloud, and I want you to really visualize that person, and I want you to feel what it would feel like to be able to have intimacy in a emotional way, to have that feeling of love. And see who you start to visualize. If it actually is a person, what they change into. I want you to do this every night until the full moon. And then right before the full moon, the full moon is going to be on October 2nd. No, October 3rd. Well, I'll have a show before then, so we'll be able to give you instruction. But on October 3rd, but I want you to read that every night, and then right before the moon is full on October 3rd, listen to the show next week for the date, for the time, and I want you to burn that list. Okay, I want you to burn that list. But every day until then, I want you to read the list. I want you to visualize in your meditation, and I want you to feel it. I want you to smell it. I want you to taste it. I want you to see it. And the longer that you stay in this place and you can keep that feeling, try to keep that feeling all day long and watch what happens. Some big magic's going to happen. Okay?
So write down before the full moon all the things I want in a man.
You're going to write down on Thursday morning, okay, after 7 a.m.,
After 7 a.m. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're going to write down all the things you want in a man.
Okay. This coming Thursday.
Yep.
This coming Thursday, which is the 17th. Okay.
Yep. So you want to do it within 24 hours after 7 a.m. So I would do it Thursday morning after 7 a.m.
Okay, after 7 a.m. Hold on to that list. On the full moon, I'm going to burn it.
Yep, you're going to burn it before the moon is exactly full, and I'll give you the time at the next podcast. Okay. I believe the moon is full in the morning as well.
Okay, I can do that.
But you're going to every night I want you to read that list, or every day I want you to meditate on that list, and I want you to feel what it feels like to have that person with you. And then try to hold that feeling in you all day. And see what happens.
Okay. All right. I can pass this on.
So the full moon is October 1st, our time, Eastern time at 5:05 p.m. So you're going to burn the list before 5 on October 1st.
Burn the list. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Can you do that every day?
I can.
And try to hold that love feeling in your body.
I can read that
for
list
as long
every
as you
day
can.
and hold it in the heart, hold it inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't wait to hear it. And email me. I'm at starmedicinepodcast at outlook.com. And of course, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and let me know how it's going. Okay.
On Facebook, your name is Star Medicine.
Star Medicine Podcast.
On Facebook. Okay.
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram.
Star Medicine Podcast. I would definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Daphne. It was so nice to hear your voice. You have a wonderful night, okay?
I will. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Well, that was lovely to talk to Daphne. We were planning on going over the 12 astrological houses this evening, but I ended up taking a call because I got really excited. But we started to go through some of the astrological houses when I did the new moon forecast in Virgo. Let me go ahead and start with the 12 houses, and then we can do a continuation on next week's broadcast. The astrological wheel is comprised of 12 houses. Each house means something different of the psyche. It brings in different energy. And when we're looking at the 12 houses in a birth chart, we are looking at the different areas that are illuminated. Each house is ruled by a sign. So there's 12 houses and there's 12 signs. And when we're looking at the primary energy of something, we are looking at what sign rules the house. So if you look at your chart and your rising sign is Cancer, know that Aries energy rules the first house. So you have Cancer in the first house and you present as a Cancer, the mother of the zodiac, but the Aries energy is the house of self and ego. So it's kind of, the first house always has the lower vibration energy of Aries underneath it. So we'll start with the first house. The first house is ruled by Aries, you guessed it. It is the house of ego. It is the house of how you appear to others and also who you are in relationships. This house can dictate what your face looks like, oftentimes your entire body, although the IC really brings in your genealogy, which is kind of an interesting concept. You can usually guess someone's rising sign just by looking at them. For instance, someone could be a Sagittarius with a Cancer rising, and they're very Cancerian. They have a face shaped like the moon. They have big eyes with long eyelashes and very motherly features. Gain and lose weight very easily is definitely a trait of someone with Cancer rising. But I'm a Sagittarius, so see, you have the two distinct different signs. So back to the first house. The first house is the house of the ego. It's how you present yourself to others. It's how other people see you and who you are in relationships. Whenever we house any planets in the first house, these planets are seen. Venus in the first house brings beauty to the beholder. Mercury in the first house brings a chatty Cathy. Neptune in the first house makes someone a very sensitive soul. They're very intuitive, even psychic, but also very sensitive to alcohol, medications, and have to be very careful with chemicals in general. Also have very kind of strange ailments, I guess. People with Neptune in the first house like to disassociate and leave their body. They have to be very careful about finding ways to leave their body. Best bet when you see this in a chart is to start to move towards meditation. That's a wonderful, natural way to leave the body. When we have Saturn in the first house, we often have someone who comes across as stoic and full of wisdom or father-like. Serious is one of the words that I hear a lot with someone who has Saturn in the first house. Also very karmic, works very hard, salt of the earth. Jupiter in the first house, lucky individual. Also expands, probably has a little bit of a weight problem, likes to overindulge, which is kind of a Jupiter Sagittarian trait, but also has the Midas touch, whatever they touch is gold. And if you If you can think of like the little cherub boy with the twinkly eyes, I always think of Jupiter in that way. If we have Mars in the first house, this is someone who definitely comes across as very Aries in nature, quick-tempered. Also very fast, probably has a lot of energy, needs to burn off that energy by running or exercising. Someone who has the sun in the first house, as soon as they walk into a room, everyone notices them. They are very prideful, and they have a large, having a large ego is not necessarily a bad thing, but they like to let themselves be known when they enter a room. They're very noticeable and extroverted, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. Pluto in the first house, that makes someone very intense. They want to be a wallflower, but everybody notices them there. They change a lot, and they crave deep, deep conversations. So they probably have dark eyes, dark features, smoldering, some would say. And Uranus in the first house makes someone very alien-like, which I mean that in a really wonderful way, like out of this world, not from here. Smooth features, piercing blue eyes, very electric, and they have a very unique style about them, how they, wear their hair or change their look or who they are or how people see them very consistently. The first house is wonderful because whenever we find any planets there, we're kind of showing the world our gifts in this house. So, depending on the sign that is located in the first house, that also brings a different kind of energy. We have about 4 minutes left of tonight's broadcast. I just want to go over a couple of things for you listeners out there. You can find me at www.thankgoddess.org. This is where you can find readings, and you can find classes, online classes, and also learn more or sign up for our online retreat with Denise Correll of The Grateful Messenger, happening on October 3rd and 4th. It's called Awakening, an online intuitive development retreat. I'm also part of a wonderful group called Optimistic Wellness. And Optimistic Wellness is a collaboration of 4 amazing women, and we're bringing together women in community in circle. I am the resident astrologer, and Jordan Eck is the resident wizard woman. Shayna Sarkison is a chiropractor and shamanic practitioner who is the Womb Wisdom Wednesday lady. And Lydia McLean is our resident breathwork facilitator, and she takes us on a journey every month with her amazing breathwork, as well as Shayna, who does a lot of meditation with the earth and shamanic symbols. We meet for full moon meditations every full moon for Circle. And you can find out more about our collaborative. We have our own Slack community, and where members meet and talk. I do daily horoscopes, and then once a month I do a monthly horoscope. If that's something that you would love to check out, that resonates with you, that is at www.optimisticwellness.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Thank Goddess, and you can also find me on Instagram at starmedicinepodcast. I hope that you all have found what you were looking for this evening. We will continue our conversations with the 12 houses next week, as well as the astrological forecast for the week. I do want to let all of you know out there, if you have an astrological question that you would like me to read on air, please feel free to email me at starmedicinepodcast@outlook.com. Make sure to include your date of birth, your time of birth, and your location, as well as your question. And I can't wait to read those online. I just want to say that this has been a pleasure spending time with you and sharing space. I'm going to bid you adieu. I I send you all so much love. Until we meet again. Thank you.